Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I want to make a video for you guys looking at things if you're a Warlock you should be doing week 2 when the raid opens, M+ opens, and all that. More like dungeons to target, trinkets to target, what you should run, what you should craft, or really what you should not craft, Sims, this and that, and, you know, just give a general, hey, these are the answers to the questions you're probably going to have heading into week 2 as a Warlock. I am leaving for the Race to World first with Team Liquid again, in this coming couple days from now, on Sunday. So I'll be streaming live from the Race to World first, my guild's progression and all that, to be casting the race, which is very cool. Very excited about that, but if you don't see me for a couple days, like starting Sunday or something like that until Tuesday, that's likely where I am. Regardless, though, we'll have the Affliction guide coming out maybe later today, if not tomorrow, as well as hopefully the raid review video, probably Sunday or Monday. I'm waiting to see if they buff or nerf things, which might happen later today as well. Yeah, so either way, if you guys want up-to-date talent builds for AF, Demo, Destro, M+ stuff, Manaforge, Omega, my website, kalamazi.gg has that. If you want to bookmark it, do whatever. It has everything you want for Warlocks, whether you're AF, Demo, Destro, talent builds, basically rotation, stats, consumables, this, that, everything else. Whether you're looking at S3 stuff for M+, there you go as well. Looking at the raid, I made this cool image myself, very, very cool. Talent builds for each fight, raid testing of heroic, all that kind of stuff. If you want it, it is on the site. At the same time, talent builds are on the site, as you see, scroll out more, find them, grab them. At the same time, bit of a flashbang warning coming here, but the 11.2 PTR spreadsheet came out a week ago or so now publicly. It's all here as well. There's nice animals in here. Very, very cool. It has builds for Destro, Demo, and AF on the fights in the raid. Like, I guess, projected good builds on those fights. Testing for Heroic and Mythic. Brief notes here and there. Talent builds for everything. I have been updating this. I have missed a couple talent swaps here and there between the spreadsheet and the website and this page here and the guides on YouTube. If you find any issues, just tell me. But they all should be synced up perfectly now, as well as gearing for BIS stuff. There's a nice cat right there, a little voodoo doll, a raccoon, and an alligator. But yeah, that's all here. This is Fisher's Ultimate Gearing Guide, if you want to look at eye level conversions and all that. And we'll get into, I guess, Trinket Sims and all that. Now, when it comes to the Week 2, M+ is open, the raid's open and all that, and you want to farm M+. You might be wondering, okay, well, what dungeons should I look to target as a Warlock? It should be pretty universally the same for mostly every Warlock, unless your gear is scuffed in some way. But a great way you can tell, go to raidbots.com, click the Droptimizer tab, go over here, paste your info in, just scroll down, select M+ dungeons. I believe Mythic +6 or 7 is where they'd be in the drop hero gear. At the +6 drops 694, which is Hero 1. Yep, just go here, select that, whatever, scroll down here, upgrade to Hero 6 out of 6, so you can simulate the highest hero pieces from M+, and go down more, it'll run the sim, simulating every single item in the M+ dungeon pool, and give you the output of what dungeon is basically best for you, and it will look almost like this when it's done. There are some higher priority dungeons than others. So, when it comes to everything here, basically, this is like the biggest DPS gain overall. Priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This isn't like set in stone for priority, but there are a good bit of options here, right? So, number 1, Arakara. Arakara has a one-handed sword and a one-handed dagger going to 710. Obviously, I am rocking a 691 wand here. Typically, weapons, eye level is very important, so dungeons that have these items in them are going to be higher priority, often barring like trinkets and things being pretty important as well. Just like that, Ikodomodani has 2 weapons, a dagger and a wand that has a very good trinket in Azakarian Parapodia. We'll get to that in a minute here, trinket section, as well as a good ring, Haste Mastery ring, very good. Cool little flavor text on it too. Also an on-use trinket. And then you have a couple other things for bracers, whatever. You can see the DPS gain between these two is actually about the same. And both have good trinkets. Arakara Sackbrood and Azakarian Parapodia, whatever it's called. So when it comes to like what you want to target, like day 1, if you're looking to farm gear, you want to run 10s for your vault to fill, 8 dungeon slots, all 10 for next week's vault, be able to pull a myth piece. But high on that list are weapons. Obviously, you're going to have Tazavesh simming a bit higher because it's a staff and all that, even though it will replace like my offhand with Ascension on it. super high level still makes a difference. But as far as Taz is concerned, like trinkets in here are fine, but they're not phenomenal. Other things are fine too, weapons, but nothing insane, right? You have Solea's, but not as good as other effects. You have Floodgate being okay with like a neck that they added in and stuff, but your main focus is going to be Arakara and Ecodome Aldani. And I would prioritize Ecodome Aldani over Arakara. Even when it comes to things like Lily of Eternal Weave, is it your best unused trinket this patch? No, but it's not terrible. You'll see it in Sims in a minute. Azikarian Parapodia is basically your best trinket. For basically every spec, it's very, very good. It probably should get nerfed. It's very, very good. But regardless, this is what I would target, even over Sackbrood, right? Your biggest DPS gain here is 128k. I mean, this is probably what, like 100 or 70k, give or take, depending on math and stuff. 2 weapons in here you can get, 2 in Arakara, as well as like, you know, Sackbrood or Parapodia, and a ring and another unused trinket. So while it might not be as good as other effects, having all these options being pretty good early on, I would look at Ecodome Aldani or Arakara's. This is not terrible on Dawnbreaker, but I mean, like, this is just, there's just banger gear in here. Even this thing, Harvester's Edict, like, what? It's not too bad, right? So not as good as these, obviously. So when it comes to Sims, for trinkets, these have been floating around a little bit the past few days. I've taken the BIS profiles, I ran my own Sims here, just throwing like top gear for all these trinkets in. I ran them like 3 or 4 days ago, but nothing changed since then, as far as I know. So we'll look at them very briefly here. I've talked about them on stream, but still, we'll dig into them and go from there. Destruction. Diabolist, basically BIS profile. It's not playing Shadowburn, but it's whatever. It's the BIS profile, basically, in single target. Your highest simming trinket combination, Azikarian and Parapodia. Once again, Ecodome. Very good. You're also playing Astral Antenna. So this drops from Lumithar in the raid. It is the 3rd boss in the raid. Antenna is likely too good. It probably should get nerfed. It is like BIS for everybody, I think, at this current point in time. All casters, all healers, I believe, could be wrong. It's very, very good. It was okay, then it was buffed, I think a week ago or so, and it's become exceptionally strong. This is like the Void Trinket from 11.1, I forgot what it's called, from, what's that dungeon? Rookery, I think, where it spawns in orbs. You can kite them around whenever you come in contact with the orb. It gives you the int buff. You can kite the orbs a bit if you want to save for CDs in 10 seconds. The effect also stacks, so if you absorb 2, it gives you 12,400 critical strike, and when 1 stack fades, you keep the other half of it. It's a really good trinket, even just baseline. But putting that aside, we are playing Void Glass Chris here, so very relatively close to it. You have Diamantine Void Core, which gives basically 200% Void Glass Shards. We have the set being the weapon and the trinket. It's important to note here with Void Core, 40k is a little bit, but if it's like 10k or 7k, the Void Core also doubles the effect of Void Glass Shards, which can either do damage or give you an Absorb Shield. And it's a large Absorb Shield, 1.3 million, with Mythic, obviously. And if you can double that, it's very, very strong for defensiveness too. So while in some Sims, if it's like 10k difference favoring, let's say, an Antenna over it or this over it, if it was like 10k, I'd wear this for the survivability. But regardless, Parapodia, Antenna, we have Antenna, Void Core, Parapodia, Void Core, Sackbrood not being too far off, honestly. Once again, Sackbrood being not a horrendous option to farm either, or Arakara. And you have other things too, like the crystal from Dawnbreaker. I'm not going in that hellhole. Parapodia combination, so on and so forth. Signet of the Priory sitting here. And there's Lily of the Eternal Weave, which is honestly beating out Signet, but that depends greatly on your secondary stats and all that. So not horrendous, but Destro looks to be playing a double equipped here. Even if this gets nerfed or this gets nerfed, you're playing this, or probably just a combination of Sackbrood and this as well, which honestly I'll take. I don't really mind that. So moving on to Demonology. Same thing. Parapodia, Astral Antenna. Demonology being a double equipped here seems odd. I think that, things have shifted a bit for Demonology over the past, few, over PTR, whatever. But still, they're very strong trinkets, very strong effects. If you look down here, you've got a 25k difference favoring Parapodia, or I guess favoring Antenna and Parapodia over Void Core and Parapodia. Then you've got Sackbrood here, not being too terrible either. Joking, it's okay. You've got a mix of Parapodia, Signet of the Priory, Araz's Ritual Forge drops from Void Weaver Araz in the raid, which is the 4th boss. Probably the first maybe potential wall as far as the race is concerned. And you also have Lily here. Once again, like not amazing. Not as good as Priory here, comparatively to Destro being a little bit favored for Lily over Priory. But once again, this drops in the same dungeon as Parapodia does. So I would definitely be farming Ecodome. Going from there. And then you have Affliction. Affliction does play Ritual Forge and Astral Antenna. So Antenna is played across every spec. But if you scroll down a bit here, this is what I'm talking about. You've got Parapodia still being very close to Antenna, still being very close to being very good. You've got a Raz Ritual Forge here. In the third slot, you've got Ritual Forge and Void Core. And a 12k DPS disparity, if I had a Void Core, I'd likely play it over Parapodia and Antenna, and like play the Ritual Forge, Void Core combined, due to like the double bonus to the defensiveness it can give you from time to time in a progression-based setting. In farm, play the higher DPS trinket. But if you're looking for like that survivability, Void Core is pretty solid to have around. And this is also not with any Void Core G's, which hopefully has been fixed, I'm not really sure. And you have also Sackbird here, you have Signet here, all that. And also, I want to clarify on all these Sims, these are 723 Sims. So, I mean, like, it's very important to look at your own, like, run your own Sims if you get, like, a Sackbird or a Signet, whatever, from M+. But week 1, you're probably comparing, like, 710 raid trinkets to 710 items from M+, 710 being the highest you can upgrade for the hero. Maybe you push it into... I guess it depends what you get from your vault, but these are like 723 max Sims across the board to show like where they're at equal power levels and stuff. So not terrible. Lily is a bit lower here, sitting right there. Highest Signet started right here, but regardless, Lily not terrible. It's fine to play for all specs. Insane, still pretty good. Double weapons. You also even get legs and aura card to catalyze if you're missing tier. So yeah, there you go. Now, when it comes to crafting, I would recommend to not use your sparks now. So you should have a full spark at the end of week 1. I have one floating around somewhere here. I don't know where it's at, but it's probably in this tab right there, crafting. It's somewhere. You should have a full spark at the end of week 1, being this week. Yep, there's mine. You'll get another half spark next week. The week the raid opens, the weekend plus opens, you'll get another half spark. Basically, week 2 of the raid, week 3 of the patch. So, to put it in easier terms, whatever, like full spark this week, you get another half here. So whenever you get it this week here, you should have 1.5 sparks. And this week here, which is, basically week 2 of the raid, week 3 of the patch, you will have 2 full sparks. 2 full sparks means you can theoretically craft a staff or 2 1 spark based items. Now, this raid tier has sort of thrown a wrench into people's plans with crafting because there are weapons in the raid that have a unique effect on them. And also, the placement of these weapons is very odd. So it's the Void Glass set. You have Void Glass Spire, Chris, Sovereign Blade. Those are all weapons. And the Void Core in this set is down here. Fractalus, right? Now, this is a trinket. You want this trinket in one of the 3 weapons, whether it's Void Glass Chris, Sovereign Blade, or the Spire, which is way up here from the Zindri. Now, the placement of these items in the raid has made things very, very interesting. So, as far as completing the set, I mean, you have to kill Fractalus to get a chance at the trinket, as well as get a chance at the Void Glass Chris. As a Warlock, you can use the dagger, the sword, or the staff, and the trinket doubles the effectiveness of the equip bonus here. None of the weapons have reduced secondary stats or main stats on them to compensate for the equip damage or effect. It's just full on main juice weapon and a bonus effect on it. They're very good. The issue is, are you going to acquire one of these week 1? You're going to get a Void Glass Chris as a one-handed dagger. Are you going to get the sword, which is somewhere in here? I think it's from Nexus King. Yep, the blade Nexus King. And are you going to get the Diamantine Void Core? If you're in a guild that's pushing content, you're probably going to try and do splits for this, or really give one person specifically priority if they loot, or if they are given a weapon for it. If this thing drops, they get it. So it's important to organize who it's good for. All that, right? Now, if you pull a Chris or a sword from Fractalus, Nexus King, whatever, great. Pretty much you can probably, for the most part, honestly, that opens up the option of crafting an offhand, right? A mythic offhand. Now, I mean, obviously you would want to wait for your Great Vault to see what you get, because there's a chance that you pull something like, right here, I have this somewhere here. You pull a mythic weapon from your vault. Now, this is a weapon from Undermine, it's from the raid. It doesn't matter. I increased the eye level to what max myth can be this patch. Disregard what this weapon is. Just look at the eye level and weapon itself, right? A mythic weapon, like a one-hander from your vault, not a two-hander, but a one-hander, with just any offhand is, for me, with my current gearing, is basically a 300k DPS increase, right? If I was to loot a a heroic 710 weapon from the raid or whatever and push it to max hero, which is 710, which is what I put this to. This is the dagger with the same offhand. It is 41,000 less DPS with the actual trinket equipped comparatively to the weapon right here, which is very interesting, right? So it's certainly a wait for your vault angle, like basically week 2 of the raid reset vault to see what you pull from there. If you're fed a void core and a weapon in your raid, you can probably just make the offhand either way, but I would wait as long as humanly possible. The question is though, if you don't get a weapon and or you don't get a void core, if you get like a void core and no weapon, probably just wait for reclear to see if they give you one. But if you get nothing, you're going in with like some M+ weapon and some old offhand or whatever, there is a possibility you'd want to craft a staff. Now, there's also the staff from the raid here, from Soulbind and his injury. If you loot this or are given this, this is the Void Glass effect. It's the same thing as the dagger and the sword, but it's a two-hander. And that makes things awkward because you want to put Ascension on something, right? Ascension and Nerubian are your best embellishments this tier, but having a two-handed staff means you can't do that. Ascension goes on weapons only, mainhand or offhand or staff, but you can't put it on this, obviously. This is still a solid pickup. If you get it early on, like on Mythic from Soulbinder, you're definitely going to play this. It's likely a boss you can kill week 1 pretty easily. I'm not sure if Araz is going to die to a lot of guilds week 1, depending how it's tuned, but these first 3 should die pretty easily. If you loot this week 1 of the raid, like in a few days when it opens from Mythic, you're likely quite possibly shifting gears and looking to craft like maybe a woven dusk thread or dawn thread set instead of like Ascension and something else, right? Keep in mind you have to make 2 pieces. It'd be bracers and X, right? Likely your off tier piece, because this tier you have a lot of predetermined gear. You're gonna have 4 or 5 pieces of your tier set being on. You have your cloak, you have your bracers already basically locked in for an embellishment. You have trinkets you want specifically. You have rings you want specifically, and you can't really mess with them a whole lot. You have the boots and you have the belt. The belt is BIS for Demo and AF for the whole tier. See if they nerf it. So you're likely crafting a woven dusk thread item in like your off piece for your tier set. Like for me, it'd be my legs for now. If I was to loot this staff, and you probably would just play this staff with the effect on it, get the trinket if you get it at some point, and just play like crafted legs with dawn thread, dusk thread, and probably bracers for the rest of the tier. That might change, or that might be a thing, depending if you loot this week 1. If week 2 of the raid rolls around, week 3, and you have 2 full sparks, and you have no weapons at all, you didn't get a trinket, you're not high priority for it, there is a world where you might craft a staff. If you craft a staff, you can put Ascension on it and keep wearing your Nerubian bracers, all the same. But if you do that, it's certainly a concession to earlier progression. It's not a, oh, this is going to be BIS all tier. You're not going to play that staff all tier. You're going to want to have either a Chris or a sword on, a Sovereign Blade or this thing, with a crafted offhand. Just like the damage effect on these are very strong. Even if you're not playing the trinket, they're still strong. There's no like reduction in secondary stats or main stat from the weapon itself here to compensate for the equip. It's just good in general. So like whether you're playing this trinket later on, or you're playing Parapodia and Astral Antenna, whatever, you're still going to want this. It's like long term, you're going to say to that staff, if you craft one, week 3 with 2 sparks, hey, it was nice knowing you. Thank you for the help and progression early on, but now I'm going to throw you aside. You're sort of like almost wasting 2 sparks in a sense early on, but you're using it for progression. Because making a 720 staff like week 2 of the raid is huge damage gain. You might not have as much as like having this set at Mythic, but you're not pulling this from Mythic either. You're pulling, if you're going to pull a Mythic Void Glass weapon, you're not in like a World First Guild, it's going to be from this boss early on, which is a staff. The later ones lock behind Fractalus and Nexus King, which are going to be harder bosses on Mythic. So there's a world where you might craft a staff with Ascension and just roll with that and say, hey, later on, might not need this. There's a world if you loot the staff from Mythic that, hey, great, I pulled this from Mythic, I might craft Dawnweave or Duskweave, whatever it is, on my other pieces this tier, and roll with that instead of Ascension. You can simulate Dawnweave and Duskweave on raid bots as well. I ran a sim here, basically looking at like the staff Mythic versus I took the BIS profile playing like Void Glass Chris and a crafted offhand comparatively to just a 723 staff. It's about a 25k DPS loss compared to like just, this stuff here. It's not like that big. Like there's some RNG to Ascension procs, obviously. This is simulated with, I think, 80% uptime on the dusk thread and dawn thread sets. You can change that in the settings down below in the sim. If you run it to 60, 70, 80, whatever you want. In progression, it's obviously lower than it is during farm. Some fights like Fire Act had a pretty low uptime. There was constant raid damage. Some fights like random fights in the past where not as much raid damage, much higher. But it's not the end of the world. It really depends a lot on what you get. What I'm trying to drive home here is you should not craft anything this week. If you already have, it's what it is. If you already crafted bracers or whatever, hopefully you loot a weapon. And if you didn't, honestly, you already crafted, whatever. Not the end of the world. But if you want to optimize your chances at having the best gear possible, you should wait as long as possible. If your guild is trying to push for a 4th boss kill mythic, you know, let's say the raid opens here, and they're trying to kill the 4th boss in the raid, it's Monday night, you need more damage, maybe you craft something. But very likely, people are going to want to wait as long as possible to craft, to reset, so you can look at your Great Vault, and then maybe re-clear a bit, see what you get, and then craft somewhere in here for max power gains. In the end, it's your spark, do whatever you want. I'm just trying to help, and yeah, well, hopefully it helped. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm flying out to the Race to World first in a few days. So I'll be casting that Race for Liquid. Also be streaming from there as well. Should have the AF video coming out maybe later on today or tomorrow or something like that. And the raid review video probably Saturday or Sunday. Waiting to see if they buff or nerf things, well, I guess later today. So we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, like and sub. Helps out a ton. And I'll see you later. Peace.